Sonny, I'm going to make you the presenter, so you'll have the controls. Looking forward to hearing your voice and seeing your screen. Here you go. Here's the baton, buddy. Welcome to F.A.C.E.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Sonny. Welcome.
Excellent. Thank you, Dale. It's an honor to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Oh, you know, what a great time to be talking about something that's a headline story. I have to ask everyone about it when I interview people because it's such a phenomenon. So I think you're my first pure crypto interview that I've done in a while. So I'm looking forward to seeing your screen, Sonny. There's a screen share function there where you'll be able to show your charts.
Okay, you'll have to tell me if you can see the charts now.
Got it. And maybe your volume could be a little higher or talk a little louder.
Okay, just bear with me a second. I'll just adjust
That's
the
better. That's better.
The recording volume. Hopefully it doesn't distort too badly now, but
no, it's good. It's good now.
Okay.
So this is where I want to start. And you know, I've been to your TradingView page, and I will acknowledge that I saw some technical work that had you turning negative in the upper 17 range in Bitcoin, and you know, you never wavered. But what I'm interested in, Sonny, is how did you get involved? Tell us a little bit about the journey of how you got involved in the trading business, and if you had mentors or what influenced you. I see you're a cable stick guy and an Andrews pitchfork guy, but my bet is that when you began and what you see now were two different things. You there, buddy? Can't hear you, Sonny. Let's see. Your mic is good.
He's unmuted, but probably by adjusting, he did something. Perhaps if you want to change, if you want to have a look, if you change your microphone selection in the platform in the GoToMeeting platform.
He's saying it crashed. On the question, I don't know what crashed. He's offline. Can we switch?
Okay, he says he's here.
All right, let me try and make him the presenter again.
Okay. I found him, Dale, SunnyBTC, I think.
Yeah, panelist offline. I'm going to make him the presenter.
I made him.
You did? Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Okay, he's back.
Sorry about that. I have no idea what happened. It just suddenly crashed on me. But anyway, where were we? You mentioned.
You remember my question?
I remember you mentioning something about my TradingView charts, and then it crashed.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mentioned, you know, your bearish stance on Bitcoin from your TradingView page, but I was talking about I could see that you use Andrews pitchfork and use sticks, and what I'm interested in is what it was like for you at the beginning, how you got involved in trading. So I know that the setup I'm looking at now was real different when you started. Can you tell us a little bit about your beginnings, Sonny, in the industry?
Yeah, sure you can. Well, my trading career began in 2007 when I left a job in London. I was working in the IT industry. I was working for a bank, and I was you know, had some savings from there. And I actually moved to Birmingham because I got married. So I moved to Birmingham and was out of work for a bit, so decided to try trading. Started looking at MACDs, stochastics, and all of the usual sort of retail junk that gets thrown at you by all of the brokers. and soon lost my shirt, probably within the space of about a year and a half, and realized that my psychology needed working on and all kinds of other stuff. So anyway, called it a day, didn't look back at trading for another 7 years. In 2013, after having moved to Birmingham, I'd worked through about 5 different jobs and just got a consistent string of redundancies based on outsourcing, and I don't know if anyone's worked in the IT industry, but it's just gone through a really massive change. So anyway, came to the end of my tether and decided to go back to trading and see if I could work it out. So 2013 also happened to coincide with the first time I came across Bitcoin. It was about, I think it was about $15 at the time, about $15, and I decided to invest in it. So I bought a bunch of Bitcoin and soon started to try and trade that as well, which was probably a bit of a mistake. I lost a few Bitcoins along the way doing that over the next year and a half, but overall I was doing okay. So yeah, that takes us up to about 2014, 2015. So what I started off learning with Bitcoin was I got introduced to a guy called IC Inner Circle Trader, Michael Huddleston, which I think he's spoken to Saeed about. And he kind of teaches a very different approach to what retail traders are used to. The horizontal support and resistance thing is what he teaches, along with order blocks and breakers and all different things and different ways of looking at market. Helps you to put a storyline around what's going on. So I learned about that. It did help a lot with my trading in terms of bias, but I was still finding that I was struggling along the way. So I kind of I decided to look into other avenues. So the whole time, well, I'll take another step back actually, because so I traded Bitcoin up until 2015. In 2015, I was still unemployed, and Bitcoin was about $250, $300, and I was at the stage where it had just been going sideways and it was untradeable for me. So I decided to liquidate and convert it into fiat, which is probably the best thing I could ever have done at the time, in order to pay bills, in order to trade foreign exchange, which had a much more volatile market at the time.
Okay.
And so I did that. So ever since 2015, I've been in fiat until very, very recently. So I traded foreign exchange for the last 2 years, successfully. I've been doing okay. And recently...
Were you also driving in fiat?
Sorry, driving in fiat?
Driving a Fiat.
I wish I was driving a Fiat. I haven't been driving a car for the last 2 years. Yeah, those old bangers are not worth my time of day. I'm only looking at Lambos these days. So.
Yeah, probably a Lamborghini, but anyway.
Just kidding.
It's a great story, and so you went to FX. How did FX go for you? They're very good technical markets. Did you have success there?
I did have success there, and what I found was that just because of my nature, I'm a very sort of I'm a perfectionist, and I try and find the tightest entries and the tightest stops and stuff like that. And what I ended up doing was I veered away from ICT and I started looking at other ways of getting confirmations and that kind of thing, so that I could reduce the risk and increase the reward kind of thing. And which led me to volume and stuff. So I was successful within that, but I was always looking to push the envelope a little bit further. And as a result, I could have done a lot better if I wasn't so greedy. And I think that's one of the takeaways from that entire period. But
there's a lesson. Did greedy equal more leverage, or not booking partial profits?
A bit of both. I'd say that the stop loss was too tight normally. Okay. I'd be trading off the sort of lower time frames, and I would say that I wasn't taking profit. I was expecting targets to be reached, and they often missed. And so it's kind of like scraping by.
We've all been there.
Yeah. So kind of like scraping by, and then around about 2016, I think something just hit through, and I started started, I was like I wasn't doing great up until 2016, and then from 2016 to 2017, my account started to actually, bottom and started to grow. And so ever since then, things have been on the up, which has been great. But my ever sort of the desire to improve and to reduce risk and increase reward has always been there, and I've strived to improve that. And there are many things that I'm
Sonny, that kind of fits a profile. I'm closing in on almost 1,000 interviews, but from what I just heard from you, you started getting back into trading after leaving it alone for 7 years in 2013, and you started to make your breakthroughs in 16, 17. And, that's what I hear from a lot of people, that it takes them about 3-4 years. There are always exceptions. Some people, it never happens for them. Some people can do it sooner, but it sounds like it was about a 3-4 year period before you started making breakthroughs to becoming consistently profitable, with drawdowns, of course, but having the confidence to know you can make a living off the market.
That's right. True? And getting family on side as well. That's a big thing as well. Once you've got them on side, then you're okay. So yeah, the confidence started to come through, and yeah, I'd say about 10,000 hours is what I've heard. It's kind of like the de facto for mastering anything, but I don't think you'll ever master Forex. But
okay. So thanks for sharing your journey. Let's I see we're looking at Bitstamp here. So why don't we talk about what you see happening here? And one of the questions, before I forget, and since you were right about the decline in Bitcoin, do you think that what's going to happen here, or it's already happening, is similar to what happens in the stock market, is that one area gets hot, and then once it doesn't, there's rotation, not out of stocks, but maybe into different sectors? And in the case of crypto, even if Bitcoin's under pressure, that there are going to be other cryptos that actually benefit from this transition of Bitcoin going through a correction and rotating to them.
Absolutely. It's one of the things that I wanted to highlight today, actually, was the, Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, right? And then you had a bunch of other altcoins like Litecoin, Namecoin, and Peercoin, and there's one came after, which was Ethereum. And Ethereum's kind of been like the second incarnation of Bitcoin, which is built on Bitcoin's fundamental system of the ledger, and it's also added onto it this concept of smart contracts, which is a way to build applications, and so there's a bit of intelligence built into Ethereum, which was missing in Bitcoin. So Ethereum was kind of trailing Bitcoin this whole time, and so Bitcoin was always going to top first because it's reached a technological critical mass, and it's bulletproof. It's got its pros, which is it's very secure, but ultimately it takes too long to send Bitcoin and receive Bitcoin, and
transaction speed was the issue, and that's what some of the other ones are trying to improve upon. Is Litecoin one that has faster transaction speed, or is it Ethereum that got that pitch?
I think it's Litecoin that's faster, but Litecoin's got similar scaling issues as far as I'm aware. I'm not very well versed in Litecoin, but the problem with Ethereum, again, so Ethereum's like blockchain version 2. The problem with Ethereum is, again, that it's a scaling thing. You can only put so many applications onto it before it starts to slow down. And there was an application built for it called CryptoKitties, which has completely wrecked it, apparently. It's slowed it right down. So it's just like a silly app that you can mess around with, and it's kind of slowed the entire network down, which is why the Ethereum developers are starting to look at increasing the speed of the networks using new technologies. I think it's called Plasma. And Bitcoin's also doing the same thing with the Lightning Network. And so these sort of things are pushing the the longevity of these coins out into the future a little bit further. But we haven't actually seen anything as customers yet.
Sonny, most people are focused on price movements of these cryptocurrencies,
Yeah.
I'm kind of interested, since you've been involved with them and trading them, what you feel is some of the safer exchanges, how trading is as far as, spreads and activity. But you know what? You can make a fortune in the market, but if you don't have security of funds, what's the difference? If one day one of these exchanges, won't send your money out. And I think there have been a few examples of that. So where do you trade when you trade crypto? And even though you're trading it, do you keep your balances light for that reason, because they're unregulated?
I do keep the balances on the exchanges light, and also it's always been difficult to judge which exchanges are going to be the safer ones and which are going to be the less safe ones. I tend to judge an exchange by what their customer service is like. Are they responsive? Can I get my Bitcoins out quickly? Do I have to jump through hoops and stuff like that? Have they got any regulations in place?
Were there any problems after yesterday's big decline for people asking for redemptions and getting money from any of the exchanges that you're aware of? Because, when everything's going up, whether they're booking the trades or not, there's an old, enemy of the investor in so many different asset classes in history called bucket shops, where, they say you bought it, but they never really bought it for you because they know eventually it's going to go down, and they just never did the trade. So how did the exchanges handle redemptions after yesterday's fall, or over the last couple of months when it became more of a two-way street than a one-way street? Do you know? I'm not aware of any issues that came about yesterday, Dale, but okay. Cool.
I mean, there might have been some issues. There weren't any issues with the exchange that I use, which is Binance.
Okay.
But what's happened recently is, I don't know if you've noticed in the news, but everyone's talking about Bitcoin, right? So every man and their dog is trying to trade Bitcoin because it's going to the moon. So Binance was just overrun with applications, and they've only yesterday, I think, they started opening up the service again, just for a small time window every day for like an hour or so. They're going to start allowing customer registrations back on.
Yeah, someone in our communities, disagreeing with my whole assertion that's not correct, that these exchanges are regulated, and David Cooper is saying that a lot of them have a lot of regulation.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the regulating bodies are, but I know on the futures contract, I know it's CFTC, SEC, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's you don't have to worry about your funds. I just had the experience that there were brokerage firms that failed in the futures industry, but if they were members of a regulated exchange, the exchange always backed them up and made customers whole. So, I was brought up in that era where it was possible to be with the wrong firm and not have access to your capital. So enough of that buyer beware stuff. Why don't we move on to some outlooks and price projections and what you're thinking here in 2018, Sonny?
Sure. Okay. So I mean, you can see the screen at the moment, right?
Yeah. Got the pitchfork?
Yeah, got my pitchfork at the ready. And so this is Bitstamp. This is one of the longest historical charts that I can find, basically. And I think what I found is, with a lot of Twitter guys, they don't always look at the historical data as like this, for example. So this is something that I spotted a couple of weeks ago, where this is the Bitstamp. It's hit the top of the channel here. And if you look at the tests, this is the quarter line here. There's been 2 tests on the quarter line. It's been a little bit rough around here, but it came up and touched the median perfectly there. And then here, it came above it. The bodies are supported by it, which is key. I don't look at the wicks so much. And it comes up, touches the next 1/8, comes up, takes out this quarter, and now it's finding support just here. So it popped just above. So to me, this is a valid channel now. It hasn't had, the only issue that I've got is it hasn't had a bottom touch here. But because of this upper body candle touch there and these lower body here, that to me is a valid median there.
So explain to me that, you know, this will be interesting because I know you have other lines that aren't part of the conventional pitchfork, but you know, with wedges and so forth, you have things called throwovers. Where's your next line if we break through this top blue line of the pitchfork? What does that imply? And have you seen that both on the top and the bottom of the pitchfork where you get throwovers or throw unders? How do you handle that, and what does it tell you?
It's interesting because there was actually a throwover, what people were classing as a throwover, because a lot of people were drawing,
I see.
if I can remember, a lot of people were drawing this channel.
I see what you're talking about, that you already had a pitchfork, before the bigger one.
Yeah, something like this. I think it was just here.
Right.
So a lot of people were drawing this pitchfork here.
I like that.
And this happened. Boom, just took out the top there. And everyone was like, oh shit, you know, he's going to, sorry, excuse my language, he's going to the moon and stuff, right? But they're ignoring the monthly channel that I've got here. So anyway, so it's come out. It looked like a breakout because it has had an exponential move there now.
Right.
And you know, this to me is potentially a blow off top, right? So anyway, so I'll take this off, right, and we'll drill down a little bit because I've got another couple of channels that I'm looking at. So that this is the channel that was originally this is the valid channel that I'm looking at now, which is a weekly channel. Nice. And again, that coincides with the top here on the monthly. The blue line and the purple line intersect there. So
and
we're
potential failing rally here.
Yeah, exactly. Potential failing rally. There is a breakdown here, and this median's getting slapped about, right? So next level, we drop down to the 3 hour. You can see. Why
3? I'm curious.
It's kind of just my favorite go-to number. I've done some back testing with order blocks and stuff that ICT teaches, and I've found that the 3 hour, for some reason, just seems to provide much more clarity. But it's just personal.
It's interesting because, you know, I'm known for teaching people 3 drive formations, and I'm a big believer in the number 3 being a number of completion. So that's it. But I've never looked at a 3 hour chart. So that's pretty cool. Go ahead, buddy.
If you think about it, if you think about it, you can divide the day up into what 8 times 3 is 24, right? So it's another mathematical way to look at the market. I think it's just I don't know. And you get the London session, which is from sort of 6 till 9, and then from 9 till 12 is dead, and then from 12 till 3 you've got your New York session. I don't think the 3 hour actually coincides like that, actually, though. But anyway, we're getting off topic. So this is the 3 hour channel. It's okay. It doesn't take much to distract me, trust me.
Yeah.
So the 3 hour fork we've got here it's touched the top then. We've got a test there. I like the way that these candles here are respecting the median again.
Yeah.
Right? So there's respect there. There's bodies being held. So to me, we're just about to sell off, and everyone's buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, what, till here? And that just happens to coincide with this lovely support that we've got on the bottom.
So you have confluence with the pitchfork and the channel line.
Yeah, and we've got the median of the monthly, the low of the weekly, and the bottom of the 3 hour, and that's at about $10,000 to $9,000. There's a little confluence there, so I think we're heading there. I wish I'd really kept my short, but yeah, I think we're headed there. So
nice look.
That's a stop.
That's a nice look.
So anyway, I don't know if for me personally, I don't want to talk. I don't know how long we've got. I can go on forever, you see. So do we have? How much time do we have? And I can.
How much time do you want?
Okay, let's. Shall I just carry on as if we've got infinite time then?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so my outlook is right. The bottom of this channel needs to hold here. so the purple line there. I'm not 100% sure if that is going to hold, because if we are at the top of the monthly, that should break, because we've just recoiled off of there. If you look at the volume here, there was actually, if I switch to the daily,
huge record volume.
Yeah, that was a large chunk of volume. But what kind of makes it uncertain for me is that the candle that all that volume transacted on was this candle here, this big candle that was very wicky. Can you see that?
People were buying the dip.
Yeah, could be buying the dip, exactly. But the thing is, it closed red, so it did close down, but it's above 50%.
But it's still a red volume bar, which is different from the green volume bar you had at the bottom down there.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so the way I'm seeing this at the moment is, I think the market's in a bit of a congestion. I can give you another way to view this as well. I'm just trying to think what the best. Can I switch to the dollar chart? Because
sure, go ahead. But that's our bailiwick. Go ahead.
Yeah, because I've been thinking about this. I had this idea of late, which was that Bitcoin has, traditionally just completely ignored the dollar, and whether the dollar's going up or down, it doesn't give a damn. Do you know what I mean? It just does its own thing, right? So I've done some studying on something that Wyckoff teaches. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's cumulative volume.
Interesting.
So hang on, let me just see. I'm on the 180. Let me switch to the daily first of all. Let me switch to the 1 week.
And this is what, the F.A.C.E dollar index?
It is, yeah, it is. I mean, I've done back testing with futures data as well.
Okay.
And what I found is that the difference, if you're looking at anything above like a 5-minute chart, there isn't a lot of difference between the volumes that you get on a tick chart and versus just something that trades on CME, for example. But anyway, what I wanted to highlight here is this, right? So from 2014, June, up until that big rally, 2015, April, right? Look at the volume that's stacked up in that entire range, and that range made up, that was a 17% move there, yeah? Right? Yep. So look at the volume that's stacked up here, there, right? And then compare it to what we got here. This is a 5 or 6% move, right? Compared to that. So there's not much difference here between that and that peak, right? Same thing happened here. Right, now Wyckoff would look at this and he'd say, right, well, that is called shortening of the thrust. And he would say that this is very bearish, right? And I would agree. I think that this is very bearish. Right, so breaking it down, it's come down, and we've had an equally big sell-off, right? But we haven't taken those lows yet.
No.
Right? And we've had this little bounce here. It's come back down, right? And so for me, for another zigzag to form, right? This is a 3% move from there to there, right? So for a zig, we just missed it there, by the way, just missed it by a hair, right? So at that peak there. So for me, if this guy reaches up there, then that is potentially a sign of strength, and that we could not take out the highs maybe, but I think that we could go a lot higher, up to maybe here, up to here possibly, to sort of make a head and shoulders there. Okay. And then roll over and really sell off hard, possibly, right? But to break this down a little bit further, so we've had that big sell-off, that shortening of the thrust has happened here. Sorry, this is not shortening of the thrust, this is absorption. If it gets to there, this is absorption. So I'll take it to the 3-hour now. All right, so on the 3-hour, you can see that that was the leg down there. And what you tend to find is that as you make new lows, if that new low is formed on less volume, like that swing there compared to that swing there, you can see that the peaks are slight tiny bit shorter there. So then it reverses because that just signifies that the sellers are running out.
Right.
Then you make this big nice move up there, comes up, takes out the high here, but on less volume. So it rolls over. Now here there was a lot of selling, and then here there's another lot of selling. But if you look where we are, there's less selling compared to the previous swing. And if we get to this guy here, can't remember what that is now, but that's a 0.5% move there. If we get to there, then that will create a new zigzag again, and that will be confirmation. So that price level is just say 11,900, right? So if we get to 11,900, that'll create a new swing, and that would be bullish in my eyes, and we'll probably come up and test the upper region of here, and if not, based on the daily chart that I showed you earlier, we'll head up a bit higher. But the reason I'm bringing the dollar into the whole crypto discussion is because if Bitcoin has topped and the dollar has bottomed, for now, short term,
Right.
then
That's going to put more pressure on crypto.
Yeah, well, it will put more pressure on Bitcoin versus USD or Ethereum versus USD. Right. So anyway, so that's the dollar thing I wanted to show you. Now I can show you.
That was very interesting. So basically, there could be a dollar rally before a bigger break, and that's the thesis you're running on. And you think that this time Bitcoin and other U.S. Dollar denominated against crypto, a strong dollar is going to have impact on price. That's what you're saying.
I think
and
so.
And ignoring it, but you think now that it's heading down, they could use that as an excuse to pressure it more, right?
Exactly. You never know, what Trump effect is going to happen next. So, so this here, what I wanted to show you was the Ethereum chart that I've got, right? So if you look at the historical Ethereum chart, this is where it gets really interesting, right? So this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin, and this bottom here kind of confluences with the high in Bitcoin, and ever since then we've just
so there's a rotation. Right? So the rotation was out of Bitcoin into Ethereum.
Yeah, and the interesting bit is that the rallies in most of the cryptocurrencies that are not BTC kind of started around the December period as well. Everything's just gone hell for leather at the moment, and so I think that Ethereum being like the second biggest market share, it has a massive influence.
It could absorb the volume better than that, so that's where the bigger players would go if they wanted to diversify out. What a great interview, Sunny.
Thank you, Dale.
You want to wrap it with anything? I encourage people to follow you. I know you have a Trading View page. Do you have anything else where people could keep in touch with what you're doing besides following you on Twitter at SunnyBTC?
I don't actually have anything else, to be honest. I haven't been updating TradingView very much, to be honest with you, but I will try and keep that page updated because it's definitely worth putting.
Yeah, you're a great resource for guys like me trying to wrap my head around what's happening here, and I might have some ideas, and then I look at your stuff and I'm seeing it. Some of the things I was thinking manifest. So. A great presentation. I'm so glad I reached out to you on Twitter and that you took time out of your day to edify us.
No worries. It's been a pleasure, mate.
All right. Well, yeah, like it or not, you're my trading warrior brother now, Sunny at BTC.
Thank you.
I hope that 2018 is a great year for you in every way.
Bless you, Dale.
Thank you so much, buddy. Everyone, thanks, Sunny. And Sunny, this is being recorded. I'll put it out and drop it in your inbox on Twitter, and I'll be tweeting this out. Thank you so much for bringing your knowledge, which was hard fought over many years, without an axe to grind. So you have a giving spirit. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dale. And I want to thank you for being like so open and giving to the community. You do a lot of stuff which is just, you know, it goes against a lot of what people think is what is true about Forex and trading and stuff. And you've got a very giving spirit, and I like you. I'll always follow you, mate. And you're my trading warrior brother too.
All right, buddy. Have a good hunting, Sonny, and let's do this again. Maybe 2-3 months down the line, see what's happening out there in crypto. You're my go-to crypto guy now. All right.
Oh, thanks, man. All right.
So that's it, Fates. Turnaround Tuesday. Hope you had a great day. Hope you learned something from Sonny. I did. And remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings, because you're all eagles. And everyone here, if they put their mind to it, can eventually soar above the clouds and above the crowds. So also take advantage of the promo. See everyone for Wednesday's action. Thank you, Blake. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Sonny. Thank you, F.A.C.E Eagles. Adios.